The sky above Wyoming turned a brilliant orange as the sun began to set. Commander Jack Turner stood at the observation deck of the secure facility, watching as the strange alien craft was towed into the massive hangar below. The ship was unlike anything humans had ever built, smooth, almost organic in appearance, with a surface that seemed to ripple like water despite being solid metal. "Still can't believe it, can you?" Lisa Kelly said as she joined him at the window. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her eyes reflected the sunset as she gazed at the alien vessel. Jack shook his head. 3 weeks ago, we were just a research mission to Saturn. Now we're the ones who made first contact with an alien species. History books, Lisa. We're going to be in history books. The Meridian spacecraft had been on a routine mission studying Saturn's rings when they detected the unusual signal. What they found changed everything. A damaged ship drifting in space containing beings from another world who called themselves the Veldari. Inside the hangar, a team of scientists and military personnel gathered as the ship's main hatch opened with a soft hiss. Ambassador Kex emerged, the slender blue-skinned alien moving with graceful steps down the ramp. 5 other Veldari followed behind him. Dr. Amy Martinez stepped forward to greet them. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, she had been flown in from her university within hours of the Meridian's return to Earth orbit with their unexpected guests. "Welcome to Earth," Amy said, trying to keep her voice steady despite her excitement. "We've prepared quarters for you and your people." Kex bowed, slightly, his large almond-shaped eyes blinking slowly. "Your hospitality honors us," he said in perfect English, the words coming from the translator device attached to what humans assumed was his throat. "We are grateful for sanctuary after our long journey." From the back of the room, military liaison, Officer Paul Winters watched with narrowed eyes. "I don't like this," he muttered to Jack, who had come down to join the welcome party. "They learn our language in days. Their technology is centuries beyond ours, and we're just letting them in." Jack understood the concern. The President and Joint Chiefs approved this. Besides, there are only 6 of them. The facility is secure. "It's not about these 6, Paul said. "It's about what follows them." Later that evening, Amy led Kex through the research facility that would serve as the aliens' temporary home. The compound had once been a military base but had been converted for this historic purpose in just 10 days. "Your medicine, your physics, they are impressive for your development stage," Kex commented as they toured the laboratories. "We were similar once before the Great Migration." Amy couldn't help herself. "What happened to your world? You mentioned you were refugees." Kex's expression changed subtly. "The Void Heralds came. They consume worlds. We fled. Many died." He paused, looking at Earth's night sky through a window. "Your world is beautiful. Reminds us of home before the darkness." In another part of the facility, communications specialist Olivia Grant sat alone in the monitoring room, reviewing data from the Veldari ship. Something didn't add up. The aliens claimed their communication systems were damaged, yet every night, brief encrypted signals pulsed from their ship. Too short to track, too complex to decode. Olivia pushed her blonde hair from her face and checked again. There it was, another burst. 3 seconds of intense data transmission, then nothing. Not the behavior of refugees seeking shelter. The next morning, Jack found himself in a video conference with United Earth government officials. The faces on the screen looked both excited and concerned. "Commander Turner, your assessment of the Veldari?" asked the Secretary General. Jack chose his words carefully. "They appear peaceful. Ambassador Kex has been forthcoming about their technology. They've already helped our engineers understand principles of their faster-than-light drive. Yet they won't say exactly how many more of them are coming," noted the Chinese representative. "They claim communication with their fleet is difficult across such distances," Jack replied. "But yes, that remains a concern." After the meeting, Jack walked through the facility gardens where the Veldari spent much of their time. The aliens seemed fascinated by earth plants. He found Kex kneeling beside a rose bush, gently touching the petals. "Your world teems with life," Keck said without looking up. So much variety, so much potential. Jack nodded. Earth has evolved over billions of years. And humans? How long have you ruled this world? We don't rule it, Jack corrected. We're just one species among many, though probably the most troublesome one. Kex made a sound like quiet laughter. Humility, rare among dominant species. He stood up. Your people fear us. Some do, Jack admitted. It's natural to fear what we don't understand. Understanding will come, Keck said, his voice suddenly deeper. For all your people. That night, Olivia decided to bring her concerns directly to Commander Turner. She knocked on his office door, carrying a tablet filled with data. Come in, Jack called, looking up from his work. Sir, I need to show you something about the Veldari. Communications, Olivia said, placing her tablet on his desk. They're sending signals, regular patterns every night. Jack frowned, studying the data. Could be automated distress beacons. They said their ship was damaged. Distress beacons don't change their encryption daily, Olivia pointed out, and they don't focus their transmission in a specific direction of deep space. What are you suggesting? I'm saying they're reporting to someone. Regularly. Secretly. Jack sighed. Olivia, we're all under stress. This is first contact, the most important moment in human history. Let's not jump to conclusions. Sir, with respect, something isn't right. The signals. Enough, Jack said firmly. Ambassador Kex has been nothing but cooperative. I won't jeopardize our relations because of some unexplained signals. Frustrated, Olivia left his office. In the hallway, she nearly bumped into one of the Veldari. The alien watched her with those large, unblinking eyes. Trouble sleeping, communications officer? The alien asked softly. Just doing my job, Olivia replied, uncomfortable under its gaze. Your diligence is noticed, the Veldari said before gliding away. The comment left her cold. She hadn't told any of the aliens what her job was. 3 days later, as dawn broke over the Wyoming mountains, Olivia accessed the secure storage area of the facility. Her security clearance allowed her limited access, just enough to place a signal interceptor closer to the Veldari ship. What she found instead changed everything. Hidden behind a panel near the alien vessel was a small device, definitely not of human design. It pulsed with a faint light. Carefully, she extracted a data chip from her pocket and inserted it into her tablet, then pointed it at the device. The translation program worked slowly, converting alien data structures to human-readable format. What emerged made her blood run cold. Scouting report. Atmospheric composition suitable. Indigenous dominant species. Minimal threat capability. Resistance potential. Moderate. Recommendation. Proceed with full colonization fleet. Estimated arrival. 17 cycles. There was more. Detailed analyses of Earth's defenses, weapons capabilities, and governmental structures. This wasn't the report of refugees seeking shelter. This was an invasion plan. As the facility woke up for another day of scientific breakthrough and diplomatic progress, Olivia Grant slipped through the hallways, the evidence of humanity's greatest threat hidden in her pocket. She needed to find someone who would listen before it was too late. Behind her, unseen, Kex watched from the shadows, his true eyes, not the human-like projections the Earthlings saw, narrowing to slits. She knows, he whispered into a concealed communicator. Accelerate the timetable. 3 months passed since the Veldari arrival. Spring turned to summer across the Wyoming landscape. Yellow wildflowers dotted the fields surrounding the facility, but they didn't stay yellow for long. Patches of strange blue growth appeared, overnight spreading outward in perfect circles. The local wildlife avoided these areas. Birds wouldn't fly over them. Deer wouldn't graze near them. Dr. Amy Martinez knelt by one such circle, taking soil samples. She wore a protective suit, even though the Veldari had assured everyone their biology was completely harmless to Earth life. The blue growth had the texture of moss but contained structures unlike any Earth organism. Finding anything interesting? Jack Turner asked, approaching from behind. Amy stood up, sample containers in hand. Too interesting. This isn't natural growth, Jack. Something is changing the soil chemistry. The pH levels are shifting dramatically. The Veldari? Who else? Nothing in their compound stays contained. They say they're just adapting their living space to be more comfortable, but these changes are spreading. Jack looked troubled. How far? We've found similar growths 5 miles away. And it's not just plants. Small animals found dead near these patches show strange internal changes, like they're being rewired from the inside. Back at the laboratory, Amy examined her samples under a powerful microscope. The images on her screen showed tiny machines, not living cells but artificial constructs moving with purpose through the soil. Nanobots, she whispered to herself. They're terraforming. In another part of the facility, Olivia Grant had been under close watch since her discovery. She had taken her findings to Dr. Martinez, who had in turn quietly shared them with a few trusted colleagues. Commander Turner remained skeptical, but had authorized increased security measures around the Veldari ship. Olivia now worked with a small team, monitoring all communications from the aliens. They had detected increasing signal activity but still couldn't crack the encryption. New transmission coming in, her colleague Ben said, pointing to the screen. This one's different. It's not going out, it's coming in. Olivia leaned forward. First time they've received rather than sent. Can we get anything from it? Just the source. Deep space, definitely beyond our solar system. The door to the communication room opened, and Ambassador Kex entered with 2 other Veldari. Everyone tensed. Your monitoring equipment is quite impressive, Kex said smoothly, though somewhat primitive by our standards. Just doing our job, Olivia replied coolly. Kex moved closer to her station. We've come with news we feel should be shared directly. Our fleet has made better progress than anticipated. They will arrive within 4 months, not the year we initially estimated. The room went silent. Ben was the first to speak. How many ships? 300 vessels. Mostly transport ships carrying our people. And the rest? Olivia asked. Kex's expression didn't change. Protection, naturally. The void is dangerous. After the aliens left, Olivia immediately called Commander Turner. Sir, the Veldari just announced their fleet is coming early. 300 ships. They're saying it's mostly civilians, but I know, Jack interrupted. They came to me first. The president is already being briefed. The United Earth government is calling an emergency session. Sir, we need to prepare. What they're telling us doesn't match what I found. Olivia, Jack cut her off again. I need hard evidence, not theories. Dr. Martinez is investigating some environmental concerns that might support your suspicions, but until we have proof, we follow protocol. 50 miles from the facility, in the small town of Pine Ridge, Sheriff Eric Collins had problems of his own. 2 of his deputies had visited the alien facility as part of a security coordination meeting last week. They returned acting strangely. Sheriff, you worry too much, Deputy Liam Scott said when Eric questioned him about missing his regular patrol. The Veldari are our friends. They're going to help us advance. Since when do you care about advancing technology? Eric asked. Last month you were complaining about having to learn the new ticketing system. Liam just smiled, a bland, empty smile that didn't reach his eyes. Things change. People change. You should visit the facility. Meet them yourself. Later that night, Eric noticed Liam's car heading out of town, toward the facility. He followed at a distance. When Liam pulled over on a deserted stretch of road, Eric stopped and watched through binoculars. 5 other vehicles arrived. People got out and gathered around something glowing blue in the darkness. Eric couldn't see clearly, but he could swear the blue light moved into the people, flowing under, their skin like luminescent veins before fading from view. When they returned to their cars, they moved differently. Too smooth, too coordinated. The next morning, Eric made some calls to friends in neighboring towns. The pattern was the same everywhere. People who had contact with the aliens changed. They became strong supporters of the Veldari, dismissed concerns, and encouraged others to welcome the coming fleet. Unable to trust local authorities, Eric decided to drive to the facility himself. He needed to find someone there who would listen. Inside the facility, Dr. Martinez called an urgent meeting with Jack Turner and Paul Winters. On the laboratory table before them lay the body of a small fox, its chest cavity opened to reveal strange blue filaments woven through its organs. "This isn't just terraforming the environment," Amy explained. "These nanobots are reshaping animal biology to be compatible with Veldari biochemistry. I think they're preparing Earth for colonization." Paul slammed his fist on the table. "I've been saying this from day one. We need to arrest them all now." "And start an interstellar war?" Jack asked. "Their fleet is already on the way. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with before we take action." "There's more," Amy said quietly. "I found similar structures in 2 of our staff members who reported feeling ill last week. The changes are subtle, but they're there. I think the Veldari are testing whether they can adapt humans too." The door opened, and a security officer entered. "Commander, there's a Sheriff Collins here asking to speak with someone in charge. Says it's urgent, about the Veldari." Eric Collins was shown into a secure conference room. His weathered face showed the strain of sleepless nights. "I know how this is going to sound," he began, "but something is happening to people who have contact with the aliens. They change. My deputies, the mayor, even the high school principal, they're all acting like they're not themselves anymore." Jack and Amy exchanged looks. "What exactly do you mean by not themselves?" Amy asked. "They move differently, talk differently. And they all say the same things about the Veldari. How wonderful they are, how we should welcome more of them. It's like they've been programmed." Paul leaned forward. "Like mind control?" "I don't know what to call it," Eric replied. "But last night I saw something. People gathering at night exposed to some kind of blue light. They weren't the same afterward." Amy's face paled. "The same blue as the growth? The nanobots?" Before anyone could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. Jack's communication device buzzed. "Turner here." "Sir." Olivia's voice came through, urgent and afraid. "The Veldari ship just activated. It's broadcasting something powerful, across a 100-mile radius. And we've just received word. The Veldari fleet has been detected entering the solar system. They're already past Neptune." "That's impossible," Jack said. "Even at their speeds, they shouldn't be anywhere near our system yet." "They lied," Paul said flatly. "About everything." Eric looked out the window and pointed. In the courtyard below, staff members were gathering, all looking upward with the same blank expression. Blue light flickered beneath their skin. "It's starting," Amy whispered. "Whatever they've been planning, it's already begun." The Veldari fleet hung in Earth's sky like new stars, visible even in daylight. 300 ships in perfect formation. News stations worldwide showed the same images. Enormous vessels positioned above major cities, smaller craft moving between them. 2 weeks had passed since their arrival, and the world was divided. In New York City, the United Nations General Assembly had gathered for an emergency session. Ambassador Kex stood at the podium, his blue skin gleaming under the lights. "We come, bearing gifts," Kex announced to the world leaders. "Clean energy technology that will end your dependence on fossil fuels. Medical advances that will cure your most devastating diseases. All we ask in return is permission to settle in designated areas. Our people need a home, and Earth has abundant unused land." The Secretary General leaned forward. "And what guarantees do we have that your people will respect our sovereignty?" Keck spread his long fingers in a gesture of openness. "We have prepared a treaty outlining all terms. We seek peaceful coexistence, nothing more." Half the room applauded. The other half remained silent, suspicious. Meanwhile, in a basement lab at the Wyoming facility, Dr. Amy Martinez worked frantically. She had been testing the medical advances the Veldari had provided. Under her microscope, the alien medicine revealed its true nature: more nanobots, similar to those changing the environment, but designed to alter human biology from within. "Commander," Jack Turner entered the lab, looking exhausted. "Please tell me you have something, Amy." She motioned him to the microscope. "The miracle drugs they're offering? They contain the same technology we found in the affected wildlife and soil. It's not medicine, it's a delivery system. For what? Neural modification. Anyone who takes it becomes more receptive to Veldari influence. It's subtle. People keep their personalities and memories, but their loyalties shift. They see the Veldari as saviors, not invaders. Jack's face darkened. Half the world's governments are ready to sign their treaty. Some have already accepted shipments of the medicine. Then half the world will be under their influence within months, Amy said grimly. We need to warn everyone. We tried. The evidence gets buried, messengers discredited, major media outlets won't run the story. Someone high up is already compromised. Jack lowered his voice. We're being watched. This facility isn't safe anymore. 300 miles away in an abandoned missile silo near Boulder, Colorado, Sheriff Eric Collins helped set up communications equipment. The concrete bunker, a relic of the Cold War, had become the headquarters of the growing resistance movement. Olivia Grant tested a radio transmitter, while former military strategist William Pratt spread maps across a table. Tech expert Nancy Doyle worked on a bank of salvaged computers. Signal's clean, Olivia announced. We can broadcast within a 50-mile radius without being detected. Eric nodded. Good. We've got 6 more cells like this one across the country, and more forming overseas. But we need a way to fight back, not just hide. I might have something, Nancy said, not looking up from her computer. I've been analyzing the recordings of Veldari communication frequencies. There's a pattern to their telepathic transmissions. Telepathic? William asked, frowning. It's the only explanation for how they coordinate so perfectly and how they control infected humans, Nancy explained. They use sound waves at specific frequencies to enhance their telepathic abilities. That's why people who hear their music or speech become more susceptible. So we jam their frequencies? Eric suggested. Nancy smiled for the first time in days. Better, we reverse them. I think I can create a sonic weapon that disrupts their mental network. It won't kill them, but it might break their control over humans and confuse the aliens themselves. Their planning was interrupted when the radio crackled. Terran Shield, this is Skywatch. Package en route to your location. ETA 2 hours. Skywatch was their code for Jack Turner and the small group of military personnel still loyal to Earth rather than the Veldari. Package meant people or supplies. Later that evening, a battered delivery truck pulled into the hidden entrance of the silo. Jack stepped out, followed by Amy Martinez and 2 security officers. They carried boxes of equipment and research materials. The facility's compromised, Jack told the group after introductions. The Veldari have taken direct control. Anyone who showed resistance has been treated with their medicine. Amy opened one of the boxes, revealing vials of blue liquid. I managed to secure samples of everything they've given us. If we can develop a counteragent, we might be able to free people from their influence. They worked through the night, sharing information and developing plans. By morning, they had formed a strategy. Nancy would develop the sonic disruption device, Amy would work on a treatment for infected humans, and the others would establish a network to spread the truth. We call ourselves Terran Shield, Eric explained. To Jack. Seemed fitting. Jack nodded approvingly. How many people do we have? A few hundred confirmed unaffected. Maybe thousands of sympathizers who don't know about us yet. It's not much against a global invasion. Sometimes it only takes a few good people to change everything, Jack said. A week later, in Chicago, the Veldari held a public demonstration of their technology. Thousands gathered in Grant Park to witness what was billed as a harmony ceremony. A huge crowd surrounded a central stage where Veldari representatives prepared to showcase their gift of advanced sound healing. Hidden in the crowd, William and Olivia carried backpacks containing Nancy's prototype sonic disruptors. They positioned themselves strategically around the park. On stage, the Veldari began their ceremony. Strange, beautiful music filled the air, making people sway. Blue lights pulsed from devices placed around the stage. The crowd grew still, entranced. Now, William whispered into his concealed microphone. Olivia pressed the button on her device. Around the park, 5 other team members did the same. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the Veldari on stage faltered. Their music became discordant. One clutched at his head in pain. Most shocking of all, their appearance began to change. The humanoid forms flickered like bad television reception. For brief moments, the crowd saw what lay beneath. Insectoid creatures with multiple limbs and segmented bodies. People screamed. The spell broken, they began to run. The Veldari security forces moved to seize the disruptors, but in the chaos, William and Olivia escaped. That night, videos of the Veldari's true form spread across the internet faster than they could be taken down. People worldwide saw the truth, even if only for a few seconds of shaky footage. Questions were raised, doubts planted. In their underground bunker, the Resistance watched news reports of the incident. "It worked," Nancy said, amazed. "My device actually worked." "It's just the beginning," Jack cautioned. "They'll adapt quickly, but now people have seen their true form." The main screen in their bunker suddenly activated, showing a global broadcast. Ambassador Kex addressed the world, his appearance still humanoid and calm. "Regrettably, there are those who resist progress," he said smoothly. "The incident in Chicago was perpetrated by terrorists who don't want humanity to advance. For your safety, we are accelerating the integration process. Veldari representatives will be placed in all major government offices effective immediately. Harmony centers will be established in every city. Attendance will be mandatory." The broadcast cut to images of Veldari ships deploying smaller craft worldwide. "He's dropping the pretense," Amy said. "They're moving to full invasion mode." Eric looked at the grim faces around him. "Then we move to full resistance mode. It's time to take our planet back." 6 months after first contact, Earth was at war. Not the kind of war humans had fought before, with clear battle lines and identifiable enemies. This war was fought in shadows, against an enemy that could wear a familiar face. In major cities, worldwide, Harmony centers processed thousands of people daily. Citizens entered looking worried and emerged calm, their eyes showing the faint blue glow of Veldari influence. Government officials announced these treatments were voluntary health measures to protect against alien pathogens. In reality, they were processing centers for mass control. The resistance movement grew despite harsh crackdowns. Terran Shield now operated from dozens of hidden bases, coordinating strikes against Veldari installations and helping unaffected humans escape controlled zones. In their Colorado bunker, Commander Jack Turner studied satellite images showing blue patches spreading across the American Midwest. What had started as small circles near the Wyoming facility now covered entire states. "The terraforming is accelerating," he told the resistance leaders gathered around the table. "At this rate, large portions of Earth's surface will be uninhabitable for humans within a year." Dr. Amy Martinez pointed to her latest research results on a nearby screen. "I finally isolated how their control parasites work. The nanobots construct microscopic receivers in the human brain, allowing the Veldari to broadcast commands through their telepathic network." "Can you reverse it?" Eric Collins asked. Amy nodded. "I've developed a virus that targets the nanobots without harming human cells. It breaks down the control structures and prevents new ones from forming. But we need a delivery system that can reach millions of people quickly." Nancy Doyle looked up from her computer. "Water supply?" "Too easily monitored," William Pratt said. "The Veldari control most municipal systems now." "What about air?" Olivia Grant suggested. "If we could aerosolize the virus and release it from high altitude," Jack considered this. "We'd need aircraft, dispersal equipment, and a way past their air defenses." "I know people who can help with that," Eric said. "Former Air Force pilots who went underground when their bases were taken over. While they made plans for the counter-virus, Nancy worked on improving her sonic disruptor technology. The original devices had proven effective but had limited range and power. "I've been studying the Veldari communication patterns," she explained to Jack. "Their ships use the same frequencies as their telepathy, just much stronger. If we could broadcast our disruption signal through enough satellite dishes simultaneously, We could temporarily disable their entire network, Jack finished, eyes widening at the possibility. How many dishes would we need? At least 12 major broadcast stations, all hitting their command ship at the same time. Jack nodded grimly. That's our window then. We disrupt their network long enough to release the counter-virus worldwide. The plan took shape over the next 2 weeks. Teams were dispatched to secure broadcast stations. Pilots were contacted. Resistance cells worldwide prepared for coordinated action. Then came an unexpected development. A Veldari ship landed directly on the lawn of the White House. Ambassador Kex emerged and was escorted inside for a private meeting with world leaders. Hours later, a global broadcast began. The President of the United States stood at a podium, eyes showing the telltale blue glow with Kex beside him. My fellow citizens of Earth, the President said in a flat voice, today marks the beginning of a new era. To ensure a smooth transition into the Veldari harmony, all remaining resistance must end. Starting tomorrow, harmony treatment will be mandatory for all humans. Anyone avoiding treatment will be considered a danger to society. Kex stepped forward. We regret these measures, but certain elements refuse our gifts. Rest assured, after treatment, you will understand our benevolence. The discomfort is temporary, the benefits eternal. In the resistance bunker, the broadcast caused urgent activity. They're making their final push, Jack said. We need to move now, before we lose any more ground. The counter-virus isn't fully tested, Amy warned. We're out of time for testing, Eric replied. It's now or never. While the main resistance prepared the ground attack, a smaller team led by Olivia and Eric made a bold decision. They would infiltrate the Veldari command ship itself to upload a virus into their navigation system. It's a suicide mission, William argued. Not if we time it with the sonic disruption, Olivia countered. When their systems go down, we'll have a window to board using one of their own shuttles. Nancy has cracked their basic command codes. The plan was set in motion. Across the world, resistance fighters moved into position near satellite dishes and broadcast towers. Former military pilots prepared aircraft loaded with aerosol dispersal systems, and a small team headed toward the shuttle landing zone outside Denver. The morning of the attack, cities worldwide woke to the sight of Veldari ships deploying ground forces, insectoid creatures no longer bothering with human disguises. The pretense of peaceful coexistence was over. At exactly noon, Greenwich Mean Time, Nancy sent the activation signal. 12 broadcast stations worldwide simultaneously beamed the disruptor frequency directly at the Veldari command ship orbiting above the Pacific Ocean. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Veldari in the streets collapsed, clutching their head sections. Their ships wavered in the air, some crashing into empty fields or oceans. The telepathic network that coordinated their forces fell into chaos. In the skies above 6 continents, aircraft flown by resistance pilots released clouds of Amy's counter-virus, the particles drifting down over major population centers. The team led by Olivia and Eric had successfully boarded a shuttle during the confusion. They docked with the massive command ship, finding its corridors in disarray. Veldari crew members moved erratically, unable to coordinate without their telepathic connection. This way, Olivia said, following the schematics Nancy had prepared. The main navigation control should be 3 levels up. Fighting through confused Veldari guards, they reached the central command center. Eric held off attackers while Olivia worked to upload the virus into the ship's systems. Almost there, she said, fingers flying over the alien controls. Just need another minute. We don't have a minute, Eric shouted, firing his weapon at approaching Veldari soldiers. On the screen before her, Olivia saw something that made her blood freeze. Images of dozens of planets, all with the same blue growth covering their surfaces. Each tagged with status indicators, most reading consumed or processing. Eric, look at this, she called. Earth isn't their first target. They've done this to countless worlds. What are they doing with them all? Eric asked, glancing at the screen between shots. Before she could answer, the upload completed. Alarm sounds filled the ship as systems began failing. The navigation virus spread through the fleet's network, causing ships to lose control of their positioning. "We need to go," Eric said. "Now!" As they turned to leave, a blast hit Eric in the chest. He fell against the control panel, blood spreading across his uniform. "Go," he gasped to Olivia. "Get the truth out. I'll make sure this uploads completely." "I'm not leaving you," she insisted, trying to help him up. "Someone has to tell Earth what these things really are." He pressed a data drive into her hand. "I copied their files. It's all here. What they do to planets, why they need sentient species. They don't just want our world, Olivia. They feed on consciousness itself." With Veldari forces closing in, Olivia made the hardest decision of her life. She ran, carrying the drive with her, while Eric used the last of his strength to secure the upload of the navigation virus. As Olivia's shuttle detached from the command ship, the massive vessel began to drift, colliding with other ships in the fleet. The night sky lit up with explosions as Earth's people looked up in hope for the first time in months. The war wasn't over, but the tide had turned. The morning sky blazed with falling fire as Veldari ships tumbled from orbit. Some burned up completely, others crashed into oceans or empty lands. The largest vessels, including parts of the command ship, drifted helplessly, their navigation systems corrupted beyond repair. On the ground, the effects of Amy's counter-virus spread rapidly. People who had been under Veldari control woke as if from a dream. The blue glow faded from their eyes. They looked around in confusion at Harmony centers and processing facilities, suddenly aware of what had been happening to them. Olivia Grant made it back to the resistance bunker with the data drive Eric had given her. Her face was streaked with tears and dirt, her uniform torn and bloodied. Jack Turner and the others gathered around as she connected the drive to their computers. "Eric?" William asked quietly. Olivia shook her head. "He stayed behind to make sure the virus uploaded. He saved us all." The screens filled with images and text, the complete record of Veldari activities across dozens of worlds. The truth was worse than they had imagined. "They're parasites," Amy said as she reviewed the biological data. "Not just controlling other species, but feeding on them. They absorb the neural energy of sentient beings to power their technology and extend their own lives. Like batteries," Nancy added, horrified. "They turn entire populations into living batteries." Jack pointed to a star map showing the Veldari's path across the galaxy. "Look at this. Earth isn't their first target, or their 50th. They've been doing this for centuries, moving from planet to planet, consuming and moving on. And now their main fleet is disabled," William said. "We have a chance to end this permanently." Over the next few days, as people worldwide freed themselves from Veldari influence, the resistance coordinated a global counterattack. Military forces that had been in hiding emerged to retake bases. Ordinary citizens armed themselves and hunted, down Veldari still on the ground. The aliens fought back, but without their telepathic network they couldn't coordinate. Their superior technology wasn't enough against the sheer numbers and determination of humanity fighting for its survival. 2 weeks after the navigation system attack, Jack addressed the leaders of the reconstituted United Nations via secure video link. "The Veldari on the ground have been captured or eliminated," he reported. "The ships in orbit are disabled but not destroyed. We need to decide what to do with them." "Destroy them all," suggested the Russian representative. "They came to consume us. We should show no mercy." "I disagree," Amy countered. "There's so much we could learn from their technology, especially their medical advances when freed from the control elements." The debate continued until Olivia stepped forward. "There's something else you should know," she said quietly. Before Eric died, he activated a beacon. It was sending a distress signal toward a specific region of space. "A distress signal?" the Chinese delegate asked with alarm. "Are more Veldari coming?" "No," Olivia explained. "According to the data we recovered, that region is controlled by a federation of species who have fought the Veldari before. Eric found references to them in the command ship's records. They're called the Galactic Concordat." Jack looked surprised. "You think he was calling for help from other aliens, after what we've been through?" Not all species are like the Veldari, Olivia said. The records show some that actively hunt them down. Eric believed contacting them might protect Earth from future threats. 3 months passed. Earth began to heal. The blue growth retreated as special teams deployed a modified version of Amy's virus that targeted the terraforming nanobots. Cities were rebuilt. Governments reorganized. The captured Veldari technology was studied carefully, stripped of its parasitic elements, and adapted for human use. Dr. Amy Martinez led the global recovery effort, developing treatments for those who suffered lasting effects from Veldari control. Commander Jack Turner coordinated the new United Earth Defense Force, preparing humanity for any future threats from space. Olivia Grant, now heading Earth's newly formed Extraterrestrial Intelligence Agency, worked from a high-tech facility built on the Wyoming site where it all began. Her team monitored space for any sign of returning Veldari or response to Eric's signal. On a crisp autumn morning, 1 year after the failed invasion, Olivia's monitors detected an unusual energy signature. At the edge of the solar system, a ship unlike any they had seen before approached Earth at incredible speed. It wasn't Veldari design. Defense systems worldwide went on alert. The new planetary shield, built from modified Veldari technology, hummed to life. Humanity was ready, this time. The ship stopped just beyond lunar orbit and broadcast a message in multiple Earth languages. People of Earth, we receive your signal. We are representatives of the Galactic Concordat, a federation of free worlds. We come in peace to meet the species that accomplished what few others have, the defeat of a Veldari consumption fleet. After careful verification and negotiation, representatives of the Concordat were allowed to land at a neutral site in international waters. 3 different alien species emerged from the ship, none resembling the insectoid Veldari. Their leader, a tall being with silvery skin named Tellin, met with Earth's leaders on a specially constructed platform above the Pacific Ocean. Your victory is remarkable, Tellin told them. Most worlds fall within days of a full Veldari invasion. You not only resisted but drove them back. We had good people, Jack said, thinking of Eric and countless others who had fallen in the struggle, and were very protective of our home. Tellin nodded in understanding. The Concordat was formed by survivors of Veldari attacks centuries ago. We have been fighting them across the galaxy, trying to prevent more worlds from falling. We would like to offer Earth membership in our alliance. What would that mean for us? Amy asked. Exchange of knowledge, mutual defense, preparation for other threats that exist among the stars. The Veldari are not the only predators in our galaxy. In the weeks that followed, Earth considered the offer carefully. The trauma of the Veldari invasion made many hesitant to trust any extraterrestrial species. Yet the benefits of Galactic Alliance could not be ignored. On the 1-year anniversary of the final battle, at a ceremony dedicating a memorial to those lost in the invasion, Earth's united government announced its decision to join the Galactic Concordat as its newest member. At the same ceremony, ground was broken for the Terran Space Academy, built on the site where Sheriff Eric Collins had once watched suspicious activity in his small town. It would train the pilots, diplomats, and scientists who would represent humanity among the stars. Olivia stood at the podium, looking out at the crowd of survivors. We learned a hard lesson from the Veldari, she said. The universe can be dangerous, but we also learned something about ourselves, that when faced with extinction, humans don't give up. We fight back. She unveiled a plaque that would stand at Earth's first interstellar port, bearing words that had become Earth's unofficial. Greeting to the cosmos. Dear aliens, welcome to Earth, proceed with caution. Above them, the first joint human Concordat defense ships took up position around the planet. Their presence a reminder that while Earth now had allies among the stars, humanity would never again be caught unprepared. The stars no longer seemed quite so welcoming or innocent, but they still called to the human spirit of exploration and discovery. And this time, humanity would venture out into the galaxy, not just with curiosity, but with caution and strength.